Yes, thank you so much. And good afternoon once again to everyone joining online and everyone at the venue. Unfortunately, I couldn't join at the venue. I wish I was there. I saw the initial program this morning. If we can please move to the next slide. So my presentation is quite brief. Mankwe told me to keep it very short. So I blame her for this short presentation. So it's just touching on the mandate of the CSR so that, all the guests that are attending have an appreciation of what it is that we do. And then I will touch on the programs that we have in building and transforming human capital, which is one of our key strategic objectives of the CSR. And then lastly, on the programs that we have for professional development, which is aimed at equipping our own researchers and support staff within the CSR with the necessary competencies that are required for them to grow in their careers. If you don't mind, I will also switch on my video. In terms of the mandate of the CSR, I'm sure most of the colleagues who are here today know the CSR, I hope. So the CSR was established in 1945, and the mandate that we were given was to pursue multidisciplinary research and technological innovation in order to support industrial and scientific development in the country. So we don't work alone. As per mandate, we work in collaboration with other partners in the private and the public sector. And ultimately, the goal of the CSR as mandated by government is to improve the quality of life of South African citizens. So it's a huge task, but it's also an opportunity for the organization. The work that we do cuts across a lot of sectors. Next slide, please. In a nutshell, this is how the CSR looks like in terms of numbers. So we've got a total staff complement of about 2,200 employees, and about 3/4 of those are set-based, and that is our scientists, engineers, and technologists. And this is our researchers within the CSR who do the research, development, and innovation work that we are mandated to do. So we also track our demographics and the transformation targets within the CSR in terms of the Black South Africans and also the females, which is also one of our key strategic priority, increasing the number of females and youth. And also within the research space, how many of those are Black and are females. We also track the level of qualifications, mainly focusing on set staff that have master's qualifications and set staff with PhD qualifications. We're sitting at around 18%, and it's been a target of ours to grow to about 25% when we compare with other RTOs who are doing similar work to what the CSR is doing, mainly doing both fundamental research and applied research. And then in terms of where we are located, our major campus is in Pretoria, in Linwood, but we do have campuses in Johannesburg focusing in mining, Durban, mainly on the environmental research and innovation. And then in Cape Town, Stellenbosch and Rosebank, we do have campuses there as well, but majority of the work happens in Pretoria. Thank you. Next. And this is how we are structured as an organization in terms of the research and development work that we do. Show some of my colleagues who probably came through yesterday. I saw in yesterday's program, there was a lot of discussion in some of these areas. So the way we are structured is we are structured according to 3 different divisions. That is advanced chemistry and life sciences. Within each division, there are 3 clusters. So within the first one, that is advanced chemistry and life sciences, there's a focus on advanced agriculture and food, and then future production with the main focus on chemicals, and then next gen health. So this is a lot of work in health technologies and innovation. The second division is advanced production and security. A lot of work in defense and security, working very closely with the Department of Defense in the country. And then we also have a huge focus on mining and manufacturing. Then the last one is smart society. So there is smart generation enterprises and institution. This is where a lot of the digital transformation work is happening, supporting the state, public institutions, and also industry. And then we have smart mobility, and smart mobility is mostly looking at the transport and logistics and roads infrastructure. And then smart places, and this is more looking at the green and renewable energies and sustainability and environmental research. So this is how our work is structured in terms of research, development, and innovation. And all the work that we do in terms of our skills development, 90% of it is to capacitate these clusters to make sure that they've got the right kinds of skills and the right kind of personnel that is required for them to achieve the mandate of the CSR and to achieve our strategic objectives. Thank you. Next slide. In terms of the pillars of our strategy, so I left out a lot of information about our strategic areas of focus, but looking at the pillars of our strategy, so it's the strategic clusters where we do the research and development and innovation work. Apologies about that. And this is where we deliver in terms of our strategic objectives to produce technological solutions and innovations for industry, and also work with the state in coming up with new solutions, especially for our societies in areas that we're scrabbling with. And then we've got human capital development and what we used to call skills development as well. And this is how I wanted to indicate this is one of the key priorities of the organization, the topic of today, looking at how do science councils contribute in the development of skills to support industrial development and the state. So it's a huge focus, and it's also one of our key pillars in our strategy to develop the relevant skills, especially in STEM. And also our focus then is on strategic infrastructure, capability development in key specific areas, and then enabling support that we will be provide support that is agile and digitally enabled. But with this slide, I just wanted to show that one of our key priorities is to build relevant skills. Next, please. And then when it comes to the programs that we have at the CSR, as I indicated, these are divided into two main programs, what we call pipeline development. And this is mainly looking at student development and also workplace skills programs that we have in terms of graduate development. If you start at the bottom, so a lot of work starts at a youth outreach level, where we work a lot with SASTA, the NRF, the DSI, to really encourage young people to consider taking up STEM subjects and also pursuing careers in STEM. So we do a lot of work in this area, and then we partner with our communications department as well. Our focus has been mainly in rural areas, because when we look at the uptake of all our programs, it's usually, in the metros, a lot in Gauteng, and in a little bit in the other metros. So now we're trying to really go out and focus our outreach in rural areas. And then we also have a CSIR bursary program. So this program specifically looks at building the STEM skills or supporting qualifications in relevant areas that are required by the CSR. So we're gonna look at, in the next 3 to 5 years, what do we need in terms of skills and talent? And then we will focus the call for the CSR bursary to target those specific areas. Sometimes we fund this program by ourselves, but we also get into partnership with other state institutions to expand on this program and grow the numbers that are required. So it's not only looking at our own sustainability, it's also looking at supporting the country in terms of developing STEM skills. And then we also have a studentship program, and this is targeted at master's and PhD level. I think at the HSRC, then they would call it an internship program. So this is where we appoint students to pursue their master's and PhD degrees. So it's like a hybrid. You are a student and you are also an employee of the CSIR, and your research for your master's and your PhD is based on CSIR research topics. The reason this program was put in place was the realization that a lot of young people, especially from poor backgrounds, if you graduate with your undergrad or honors degree, there's all this celebration that you're going to start working. So we're losing a lot of young people from pursuing masters and PhD qualifications. So this program is saying we'll employ you to do your masters and your PhD so that at least we can increase the number of high qualifications within the demographics that we are looking for. So this program has been with the CSIR for a number of years now. So we partner with universities in the country, so the students will register with the university, but the topic, as I said, will be informed by the CSIR. So it's one of our successful programs. And we also then, after the PhD, it increases our number of staff with PhD qualifications, because the aim is to then absorb them into the organization when they complete. And then we have a huge partnership with DSI that we call Inter-Program Bursary Scheme. It's a scholarship program that supports honors, masters, and PhD studies. So these are full-time studies based at local universities, and there's about 280 students that are supported. So this aims to build high-level skills in very key priority areas that are determined by the DSI, which are also aligned to the CSIR. So it's one of other programs that we are looking into, building high-level skills. We have a postdoc program mainly funded by the NRF, so we apply to the NRF, but we also use our own funding to appoint postdocs to work at the CSIR, and they also assist us in terms of providing supervision for some of our students in the studentship program. And then for work-based skills programs, we've got the work integrated learning. So where we provide opportunities, like a 12-month opportunity for students from universities of technologies who need a work experience for them to graduate. So we have that program. And then we also have a graduate in training program. This is a more focused program, especially for the engineers who are coming out of our CSIR bursary program. So in the past, they'll come out of the program, graduate, and we place them across the CSIR. And what we realize is that you place them and you hope for the best, that they are growing in terms of their chosen careers. So this is a program that is saying for the first 3 years, we're going to monitor and support them in terms of their development. And for the engineers, it's aligned to EXA, the Engineering Council of South Africa, the requirements for them to register as professional engineers. And then we also work with SACNAS in terms of the scientists. For this graduate in training program, for engineers, they can join after their 4-year degree, but for scientists or the students who are pursuing science degrees, we encourage them to pursue master's and PhD degrees before they can join the CSIR, because of the type of work that we do. We also have an internship program, partly funded by the CSIR, but we also get support from the HSRC in terms of the internship program that they run with the DSI. As Bongi has mentioned, I think a lot of science councils are getting a lot of support through that program, and we've received a high quality of internships through this program. A lot of them do remain within the CSIR and they get absorbed. So this is one of the successful programs I think that we have. But I think as science councils, we have a very big role to play in providing experiential learning and providing workplace skills development for graduates. There are many other organizations as the NRF that provides bursaries. I think our key role and where we can really support the NSI is to providing this experiential learning and providing graduates with experience and give them, a chance to become employed once they have graduated. Next, please. So in terms of the numbers, I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to be very quickly. On the bursary program, we have almost 400 students. It used to be almost 500, but the numbers have gone down a little bit because the funding into these programs is not increasing at the rate that we need to increase the awards or the financial contribution to the students, and the fees have been going up. So the number is a little bit lower than we are used to, but it's a discussion we're having internally to see how we can expand on those programs. Of course, we don't work alone. So as I said, we have partnered with DSI, the NRF, and the CETAs. And currently within that cohort, we have about 154 students who are pursuing PhDs and 121 at a master's level. In our graduate in-training program, it's very new. We started with it in 2019-20, and we have supported over 107 or over 100 graduates through this program, and 38 of them have been absorbed permanently. So most of them, as soon as they finish their 3-year with the CSR, they get absorbed. Some get absorbed before they even finish the 3-year training within this program. And then in terms of the internship, we've got about 97 interns that are supported internally, and then other interns then that we get through the HSRC. Thanks. Next. And then we also have a professional development program within the CSR. So we build our pipeline to make sure that we've got a large pool of scientists and engineers and technologists that can join the CSR. Once they join the CSR, the researchers within the CSR occupy different levels. So for junior researchers, it started a candidate researcher level. And then when they grow into a researcher, and then a senior researcher. So this is a more competent, seasoned professional in their area of expertise. And at a principal researcher level, if I compare to the NRF rating system, your C-rated scientists will be sitting here. So these are the researchers who are specialists in their field, and they have a sustained track record that has led to a widespread recognition in their field. And this one with the CSR is mainly looking nationally, what is their profile and their presence in terms of their research expertise. And then the ultimate is the chief researcher level. And if you compare, this will be your AB type rated scientists. So at a chief researcher level, this is the ultimate level within the CSR for a research specialist. So this is someone who has a track record in research and development and has attained an international profile in their research space or their areas of expertise. So we count, the CSR uses, we track the number of principal and chief researchers that we have, because that's an indicator of the strength of our research capacity as an organization. So we have a lot of programs. Next, please. Yes, that's just to show we have a lot of support programs that are targeted at assisting the researchers to grow within the career ladder. We call it the CSR career ladder. So it's a framework to say, for you to move from a candidate researcher level to a researcher level, these are the competencies that you need to acquire. And then there's a career ladder assessment that we use to check in terms of their development, that have they really developed to a researcher level, senior researcher, principal, or chief researcher level. Now, to support them, there's a number of programs that in place. I already talked about the graduate in-training program. And also we've got the Young Researchers Establishment Fund that is aimed to really support them to grow. So at this level, really, they are looking at growing their own careers, and they are focusing on developing themselves, and because they are still working under supervision. And then as they grow to be independent, we've got a program that is called an Accelerated Researcher Development Program. And that one assists and supports researchers, senior researchers, to grow into principal researchers. And then we have another targeted program to assist principal researchers to grow into chief researchers. And then underpinning these programs that we have within the CSR, we also have a qualifications upgrade program or staff bursaries. So staff within the CSR can apply to further their qualifications. And this is a bursary that is provided for annually within the organization. And then we have a partnership with LinkedIn Learning. When COVID came and we could not use, access our academy at the CSR, then we looked around for e-learning platforms. And then we entered into a partnership with LinkedIn Learning to really support. So it's not only researchers, all staff within the CSR have a license to acquire new knowledge, to upskill themselves or strengthen where they are in terms of their growth. But we also have the CSR Learning Academy that continues then now without the lockdowns to provide a training in a lot of areas that our staff require interventions in. We also have a leadership and management development program, which we started rolling out last year. This is in partnership with Vets Business School, Macaulay and UCT. So this is looking at different tiers of leadership and really to capacitate CSR leaders to ensure that we really talk to the strategy and perform or ensure that there is performance and that we drive our strategy within the CSR. Next, please. And then other additional programs that I already spoke about, the outreach program. And then we have a corporate social investment program, which is also looking at one of the key pillars there is education and skills development. So through the CSI program, we have adopted about 5 schools, mainly in rural areas. So we have a school that we've adopted in Hammanskraal and 3 schools in KZN. That we're really working very closely with in terms of providing a lot of support to make sure that their learners, introducing them to careers in science and also assisting them with pushing the performance in terms of maths and science at the school level. So we're working closely with those schools, but for CSI, then we support a number of schools during Mandela Day, by providing, science equipment, office furniture, laptops, depending on how much we can provide in that particular year. We also have a CSR Science Day where we invite a number of local schools to come to the CSR, and they get an opportunity then to visit some of our research facilities within the CSR. And the main goal really is to try and excite them about possibilities in STEM careers. And then lastly, we have a youth employment service initiative that we signed up to. I think it's been 3 years now that we've been working with the youth agency. And the main goal of this really was to see what it is that we can do as a CSR to also contribute in decreasing the number of unemployed youth in the country. Of course, it's not a lot. We currently have about 74 youth that are on board. So it's similar to your internship program. So it's a 12 months internship program. It's targeted at appointing unemployed youth. And these youth will be based, some will be based at the CSR and some will be based at the SMMEs that we are partnering with. So it has also been a very successful program. Some of them do get absorbed, but it also has a huge focus on females and also youth with disability. So since inception, we have supported about almost 220 unemployed youth to come through to the CSR and get the work experience that will assist them in getting work opportunities after the program. I think this is my last slide. Next. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening.